Welcome to Today's Issues, a community service program informing you of the issues and events in the four-state area. Now, here are the issues for today on KNEO 91.7 FM.
Good morning. This is Luke Taylor with your Capitol Report. State Senator Jill Carter is joining us today. She's updating us on education and some other bills that the Missouri Senate is working on, as well as some major steps being taken right now to get IP reform passed. We'll join her now with that update.
This is Senator Jill Carter. I appreciate the opportunity of being able to give a Capitol report on this week's activities. We have filed SB 1290, which is a grant and a waiver for schools interested in classical education, which will bring back a way for what used to be a measure of education back to our communities for schools that are seeking to do so. Another bill, SB 814, is our education bill that will restore accountability to local communities. That bill was heard in committee this week. We had a great turnout for it. Very excited about the possibility of that bill moving further. Another thing that happened this week that really kind of took the limelight is IP reform. We have not, in the House and the Senate, initiated a petition or IP reform is a way to change our state constitution. And the reason why this is becoming so important is because we had the marijuana issue passed through an initiative petition process. We're now seeing where there's a big agenda to try to force abortion to be put on the ballot. And this is done through collecting of signatures. And what happens when we get enough signatures is it goes on the ballot and it becomes a popular vote. And something we've been trying to do is reform that process to where the signatures still have to be collected. But what you have is what's called a concurrent majority, where you have to have a majority instead of just a popular vote. You have to have a majority of either House or congressional districts pass it throughout the state. So this is similar to our electoral college. It's just not a popular vote, but what the hope is and what we see historically is this allows an equalized voice from across the state. So rural areas aren't outvoted. We have, even though this has been a number one priority the last few years in the Republican majority of the legislature, it has failed to come up the last 2 years, even though it's the number one priority, was identified as the number one priority. And this has not, none of the bills that we filed, IP reform bills, have been sent or referred to the House or the Senate, even though this is a number one priority, and now we're going into the fourth week of session. So what happened is several of us senators in the Senate stood up to force the issue to have these bills referred to committee so that these bills and this issue can be debated. The tendency is for these bills to wait to the last few weeks of session, and they end up getting killed, or we don't have enough time to deliberate. And so that's something that we're really trying to work on to get our leadership to respond to the will and desire of the people and get this issue brought up. So if you have any questions or comments, I sure appreciate hearing from you. And I pray for you and your families and for our community. And thank you so much.
32nd District State Senator Jill Carter can be reached at her Jefferson City office at 573-751-2173.
This has been Today's Issues. For more information about the issues you've just heard, call 417-451-5636. Today's Issues is presented as a public service of KNEO 91.7 FM, a Sky High radio network.